Let me show you this story from The Hill. Why contraband eggs are piling up at the U.S.-Mexico border. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. It's so bad that people are trying to smuggle chicken eggs in from Mexico. And before y'all go and say, Tim, the reason there's an egg shortage is because of the avian flu. Let me just remind you that the avian flu doesn't know what a border is. It's not like at the southern border there's a bunch of chickens dying, and then right on the other side there's a bunch of chickens living. There are chickens in Mexico right on the other side of the border laying eggs. But for some reason, people have to smuggle them in to the country because we don't have chickens laying eggs 10 miles away? No, it's because inflation and policies implemented by Biden and the Democrats have been bad. Now, don't get me wrong, the avian flu has been devastating. It's resulted in shortages. It's a contributing factor. But people would not be smuggling eggs into the country if it were not for other issues. So what do you think I'll say it again because I said it in the beginning of the show, but for those that are just watching this segment, if you went back to 2020, right before the election, and warned your family members, if you vote for Joe Biden, I swear in 2 years, people will be smuggling eggs into this country from Mexico in desperation. What do you think they'd have said to you?
You're crazy.
Simply put.
Yeah, that's a little far-fetched. But then what I'm thinking about is, I think that what is happening is they can sell these eggs in Mexico for 19 cents, but if they take them across the border, they're probably getting like $1.50 per egg.
Why?
So it's like a smuggling tactic, like
right. You are correct.
Oh, inflation and subsidy, government subsidy, inflation, corporate collusion, like their price setting. Probably they're not supposed to be, but I have a feeling that they are. That they're like, we're not going to go any lower. Egg USDA or whoever is in charge of the egg sales. We're setting the price at $6.99, and we'll track it with inflation or something like that.
Do you remember those videos from the pandemic of dairy farmers pouring out gallons and gallons of milk because they had the product, but the supply chain was so destroyed that they couldn't get it to the store? But then that meant that we were creating more chaos because then they didn't have milk. That's sort of what the egg issue reminds me of. Like, these are the results of the administration we are currently under. And
well, the milk pouring stuff happened under Trump, but these were Democrat governors that were going crazy on shutting down their states. Ron DeSantis, of course, I think he shut down early on and then reopened much earlier than anybody else. South Dakota, I think, never shut down. So it was certainly under the Trump administration we were seeing all of this stuff. And Trump was the one who proposed shutting down for a couple of weeks. But then when it became apparent they were never going to allow it to reopen, and Trump was like, look, I can't do anything. It's a state level issue. I guess the challenge is...
That means that Biden came into this aware of this issue and has not been able to fix it. I mean, we're 3 years out from the onset of the pandemic, right?
Yep.
And nothing has gotten better.
It's gotten worse.
That should be alarming to all of my family members that voted for Biden, but I feel like they'll buy the avian flu thing. They'll say, we've got to keep flocks separate or something.
The lockdown was bad for a lot of reasons, like people weren't working. But in terms of the raw economic numbers, it's actually worse. Like, the aftermath of those policies has made things tremendously worse. And the Biden administration over the past, it's been 2 years, has not fixed this. When you look at the economic numbers, there's graphs on inflation, wages. You can see Biden get elected, executive orders hit, and then all of a sudden wages drop. All of a sudden inflation skyrockets. That is not an issue of, I should say, that is specifically an issue of Biden administration policy. They want to argue that, no, it was Trump that did that because what happens with the Trump campaign, they enact policies, and then it takes a year to come in, and Biden says, I came in and it was like this. Not true, because you can actually see the inversion happen overnight when he enacts these executive orders. So this is what you get with a Joe Biden